We have Thor's hammer. You can hold that. It's a little heavy.
My name is CB Cebulski, and I am the editor-in-chief at Marvel Comics, which means I oversee our staff of editors, who in turn oversee staff of all our writers and artists who create comics based on the best characters in the world, the Marvel heroes. I've been a fan of comics since I was a kid. For comics, American comics, Marvel superhero comics, DC comics. Spent a lot of time in Sweden growing up. So a big fan of things like Kalle Anka, the Smurfs, Asterix and Obelix, Lucky Luke. I used to read all those comics with my cousins here. And then eventually I got into Japanese manga. So I love comics in every way, shape, or form from around the world. I've been to Comic-Cons around the world, big ones and small ones. And as soon as I heard that, the Stockholm Comic-Con would like me to come, I said, yes, I'm there, count me in, because I just wanted to see what the comic book scene here was like. And, it's a great show so far. Just the fan energy is here, the cosplay is here, there's a great mix of comics and just games, movies, television, and it's a great representation. And I love the fact that, I come as a comic book fan, having come to Sweden so many years from when I was a child, to seeing now, working for Marvel, in my position, to just how far our brand and how far pop culture has come here.
Yeah, because I grew up in the 70s. It was really hard to get Marvel comics. Yeah. And now they're everywhere.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, And I just think that's great. The last 10 years for Marvel, our movies have really been driving, the recognition of the characters around the world. And in turn, more people realize that after you leave the movies, after you leave the theater, you can go online and, watch Marvel videos and animation, read Marvel comics, buy Marvel action figures, be a part of the whole Marvel experience every day if you'd like. We had the Marvel from back in the day, we say it's the world outside your window. And that's something that Stan Lee, the co-creator of so many of the classic Marvel heroes, really wanted to be a hero for everybody. So we had, the first black superhero, one of the first female superheroes, the first Asian superhero, we want our characters to reflect everyone in life.
And you have one of the few first openly homosexual characters, North Star?
North Star, yes. The first real Muslim female superhero, Kamala Khan recently. So Marvel's constantly pushing the boundaries of diversity and inclusion to make sure that no matter who you are, you can pick up a Marvel comic or see a Marvel movie and there's someone that you can relate to.
And you can see today that the Black Panthers really become a big movement for black recognition.
Yes. But for black recognition, but that movie was just so empowering for just, so many different people. And, people, no matter where they were or the color of their skin or their religion or their sexuality, turned out because it was such a beautiful story that created a world from the ground up and told an amazing adventure in just 2 hours.
But the only thing we Swedish think you lack is a really cool Swedish superhero.
I'm going to have to work to fix that in my new position, I guess. Given my history with Sweden, I find that lacking as well. But hopefully soon.
There's a few characters like Magma, the new Magma, and he hasn't revealed his powers yet, I guess.
Yeah, no, they're hopefully coming. So there's characters with Swedish backgrounds, of course, but no, like you said, no real standout Swedish superhero in the spotlight. Some of the strongest international characters were created by writers and artists from those countries. So you want something to feel authentic. You want something to feel like someone who is part of that culture created it. And maybe that's one of the reasons that we don't really have a strong Swedish hero yet, is that hasn't been a Swedish writer or a Swedish artist who's come in and said, I want to create this character. I want to leave my culture's mark on the Marvel Universe.
But that's the cool thing, that you have so many culture within the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, Marvel is the real world,
And I think that today nerd culture or pop culture that is very specific is bigger than ever.
Yes, I agree, yeah.
Like, for example, you wouldn't see a TV show like Big Bang Theory that is so hooked on like Star Wars, Marvel, DC Comics.
All the different brands that are represented, Game of Thrones, Star Trek, all the different pop culture references that are in that show. And everybody understands them for the most part.
And the funny thing was that in one episode of Flash, he had a Sheldon t-shirt.
I didn't see that, no.
And I think that it's the thing, because there's a lot of things about pop culture and nerd culture. It is reference-based. You have to know a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I know. But as the fan base grows, people are starting to learn more about it. And sometimes if there's a reference they don't understand, they'll go online and they'll Google it. and become attracted to that part of pop culture. So in a way, it's helping. It's kind of the snake eating itself. We're kind of in a very good symbiotic relationship.
I couldn't choose between my kids, but what's your favorite comic?
My favorite comic. I'm an X-Men guy. So I grew up loving the X-Men from the early 70s. So if I had any comic I could read for the rest of my life, then X-Men would be it.
I totally agree with you. X-Men was the best ever because it made the nerds that were a bit outside of the popular crowd feel like they had sort of a belonging, and it has a moral compass. Even though you're different, you're doing good.
Yep, anywhere in the world, no matter where you were from, one of the X-Men was who you could relate to because they encompass a lot of the fears and anxieties and stress that anybody had, and you were able to kind of see how they dealt with it and kind of experience it and have an outlet through a comic for your life.
So it's an outsider story, but still being part of the big society.
Exactly.
And I have just a final question. Do you have any secrets you can reveal about what's going to happen in Marvel? That you can give some sort of hint of something?
Let's see. I just revealed that I'm a big X-Men fan. Yeah. So we have some big plans for the X-Men, and if you are an X-Men fan, I can tell all the X-Men fans out there that next year is the year for us. I'm making sure that the X-Men are coming back into prominence, putting some great creators on the books, and you'll be seeing some new characters, some new mutants, and some new storylines that I think that old school fans and new fans alike are going to really embrace and see what the hype is all about and why we X-Men fans love them the way we do.
Thank you, and I'll try to get some good Swedish people together to make a good story for a Swedish superhero.
Great, let's do it.
Who's your favorite Marvel hero? Iron Man? Okay, great. Who do you like? Captain America.